Hello, Internet. I'm Corione, your witch in residence. And today we're diving headfirst into a rabbit hole of godlike dads, cosmic expectations, and what it means to choose humanity over destiny. From Superman's shocking Kryptonian twist in James Gunn's reboot, to Omni-Man's betrayal in Invincible, and even reaching back to ancient epics of Gilgamesh and Hercules. This is one long story echoing through time. Let's break it down. Now, before we get too deep in, come to my attention that a lot of you have subscribed, but the bell icon hasn't been set for notifications, and you guys don't really seem to leave comments that often or throw a like on it. Guys, that really helps the channel. It'll really help me out. It gets our message of positivity and thinking deeper about pop culture out there. Please consider doing so. Thank you so much. With that obligatory ritual out of the way, let's dive into Superman 2025. So, Superman isn't just Earth's protector. He's Krypton's genetic insurance policy. In the new film, Jor-El and Lara's hidden message reveals they didn't just send Kal-El just to survive, but to reshape humanity into something more Kryptonian. The twist reframes Clark's identity crisis. He's not just rejecting a planet, he's rejecting a legacy of control. Now, compare this to Man of Steel, where Krypton is a doomed relic. In Gunn's vision, Krypton is an ideological threat. It's no longer just about saving Earth. It's about whether Earth should be saved from him. The weight of your birthright, the expectations that come with it, it can feel like a chain. And choosing to break that chain, that is a real act of heroism. Now, as people who have watched my channel will know, I love the Invincible series. I've got the volumes of all the comics. I absolutely love the Amazon series. It's probably one of my favorites. I won't tell you how many times I've asked people to think, Mark, think. But in it, Omni-Man is the ultimate twist on the father-mentor archetype. He's sent to Earth not to protect it, but to prepare it for conquest. Now, when Mark discovers the truth, the fight becomes philosophical as much as it is physical, where this epic struggle between the two of them boils down to the fact that, in comparison to the Viltrumites, the Kryptonians of that series, humanity lives for mere seconds in comparison to them. And with that understanding, with that knowledge, is it appropriate to see these people as anything but chattel, but livestock? Mark disagrees and says yes. It's very important that we see humanity as humans, as people, as our friends, as our family. So both Mark and Clark Kent are raised by loving humans and must decide which legacy matters, blood or values. Now, at one point, Omni-Man literally says, "You live to serve the Empire." It's the same ideology that Jor-El in the new movie implies. But Mark, like Clark Kent, chooses love over legacy, and choosing who you are over what you were born to be. Now, you'd think that with all the coverage that we've gotten so far, that this is a new concept, but I would disagree, okay? Gilgamesh, who was 2/3 divine and 1/3 human, initially was arrogant and cruel until he meets Enkidu, who teaches him compassion and morality. And his journey mirrors a lot of Superman's. This all-powerful, divine almost origin, but grounded in humanity. Heracles is a similar situation. He's born of Zeus and a mortal woman. He's constantly tested by the gods, but his biggest struggles, the things that are the hardest for him, are internal. The guilt over the rage induced by Hera that caused his family to die, the madness that can overtake him, that the gods can tweak whenever they want, and the remorse for some of those actions. Like Mark and Clark, Hercules learns that real strength is about restraint and atonement, not dominance. Right? These heroes were born into greatness, but they don't become good until they choose humility, until they choose to put away their excessive pride, until they choose to be like us. Now, when we talk about legacy, it's a very interesting subject for me personally. I don't know how many of you know this, but my family is actually mostly from Austria. And as some of you know, there in the 1940s, there were some pretty dark times happening in that part of the world. Okay, I want to take a moment to share this kind of personal story that I've got. See, my grandfather was forcibly drafted into the very, very bad men from Germany during World War II. He didn't participate in the horrors of the Holocaust, but he was made a Pak 88 gunner. He actually nearly made it to Moscow. He actually told the story that they were so close to Moscow they could see the women bringing in their laundry. Now, at the end of the war, he found himself in a Russian POW camp, and it was there, stripped of any authority, any sort of rank or what have you, far from his homeland, that he learned what the war had really been about and what his country had done. He told me it made him sick, but when he was released, he didn't retreat into shame. He came home and did his best to live a quiet, meaningful life. He helped others, he rebuilt. He chose to be a good man. And I can be upset that he was forced into something terrible, but I am proud of the man he became. And I try every day to live up to that version of him. The guy who, when he found out that one of his neighbors was falling on tough times, he introduced him to the egg farmer, like the chicken farmer in the area, and to the dairy farmer, and to some of the guys that did other work in the area, and suggested to him that perhaps if he were to go to one of the major berry bushes that were growing wild blueberries in the backwoods where, it was on crown land, basically free land for people who were willing to work it. If that person had gone back there and picked a few bushels of the blueberries and raspberries, perhaps he could trade those for the kind of food that he needed. And ultimately, that's what helped him and this gentleman's family get through those tough times and become a very lifelong friend of my grandfather. My grandfather was the kind of person that always kept a can of gas in the garage, just in case somebody ran out while they were going on the back roads that he lived on, or would do metalsmithing work for people that needed a quick fix out in the middle of nowhere, until they could get, a professional version of whatever my grandfather had produced for him. He was a man who took care of his community, a man who was friendly and kind to absolutely everyone, and in fact died due to an accident from helping try to get an individual who had driven off of the road and fallen into a culvert out, and try to save the gentleman in that culvert. So he is not a hero for what he was a part of. He is a hero for the man he chose to be when he got that choice. I think why this movie resonates so deeply for me. And really, these stories, Hercules, Gilgamesh, Superman, Mark Grayson from Invincible, these stories echo in time because they speak to a core truth. You are not your parents' expectations or legacy. Whether it's ancient gods or alien bloodlines, these heroes define themselves by their values, not their birthright. And in an era where generational trauma, political inheritance, and toxic legacy, it's no wonder we're obsessed with these themes. And really, it is the question we all face. Am I a product of the people who made me, or the person I chose to become? And that's why stories like Superman, Invincible, Gilgamesh, and Hercules will always matter. They remind us that choosing kindness, humanity, and responsibility really is the greatest superhero and greatest superpower of all. Now, if this hit you where you live, let me know in the comments. Which of these heroes do you resonate with most? Superman, Mark, Hercules, or Gilgamesh? And if you want more mythic breakdowns like this, please ring that bell so you don't miss the next descent down the mythopunk rabbit hole. Okay? Until next time, stay powerful, stay curious, and remember, legacy doesn't define you. Your choices do. Merry meet, merry part, and merry meet again. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.